Recently, Dr. Swarna Balasubramaniam spoke at Methodist Hospital on Highway 59 about colon cancer. She took a few moments with SWN before the presentation to demystify the condition.
Colon cancer is a very common disease. It is a growth that grows in the lining of the colon, which is the large intestine of the body, and it's cancerous. In other words, it has the potential to spread to other parts of the body. Colon cancer, most unfortunately, is a very common condition. Approximately 50,000 Americans will be diagnosed with colon cancer. It is less common than breast cancer in women and less common than prostate cancer in men. But most unfortunately, it affects both sexes equally. The best news in the colon cancer world is that the incidence of colon cancer is decreasing thanks to people going and getting the proper screening, of which colonoscopy is the best tool to do that. The sad news is you can't really predict if you're going to get colon cancer. Anyone can get colon cancer. As a matter of fact, 75% of people who get colon cancer do not have a family history. There's always a misconception that you're more susceptible or less susceptible to colon cancer. I've seen colon cancer in people as young as 18 years old and as old as 103 years old. And so unfortunately it can strike at any time. The most common time, or the highest prevalence I should say, of colon cancer is in your 50s and 60s, which leads me to the recommendation that the American Cancer Society and other societies have, that you begin a routine colonoscopy at age 50 and sooner if you have a family history. Once you have colon cancer, it doesn't develop any warning signs until pretty late in the game, most unfortunately. This is why we recommend a colonoscopy as a preventative tool. Colonoscopy is a scary word to a lot of people, but it's actually a pretty straightforward test. The first thing I should tell you is these days, most of the time, you're either completely asleep or 3/4 asleep when you have a colonoscopy. So you do not feel anything and you don't remember anything. The test itself just consists of a thin, flexible tube with a camera and a light on the end of it that's threaded up from the exit on your backside and looks at the entire colon, which is about 6 feet in length. It doesn't cause any pain, it doesn't make any new incisions or new holes, and all we do is take a look at the entire lining of the colon, make any notations about any abnormalities we see. If we see any polyps, we remove them or do a biopsy if they're too large to be removed. And then the tube and the light are removed, and then you're just left to recover, and basically the next day you're totally back to normal. It's a painless test. Actually, the only really unpleasant part of the test is where you have to drink this solution called a bowel prep to clean yourself out the day before. And yes, it's not a pleasant thing. No one likes to take a drink and then have to basically clean yourself out, evacuate yourself, but there's some positives in it. First off, it's not as bad as people make it out to be. The solutions are a little better tasting. There's some tricks to make it better. If you fast for a few days, drink a lot of extra water, the prep isn't as bad. And then basically, I think, it's one day of unpleasantness. You don't have to prep for more than one day in order to have a life-saving test. And if you just look at it that way, I think you can get through it pretty easily. If you have what's called stage 1 colon cancer, where it has not progressed past the lining of the bowel wall, 90% of those people are alive, 90 out of 100 at 5 years. If your colon cancer is detected at the point where it has progressed past the colon to another organ, which would be stage 4, and most likely colon cancer goes to the liver, unfortunately at 5 years, only 5% of people are still alive. So it makes a big difference to go and get that disease early.
For information about future health and wellness programs at Methodist Hospital's Fort Bend campus, visit their website at www.methodisthealth.com. For Healthwise, I'm Stacee Hawkins.